Hello, welcome to episode 1 of the Basics of Stop Motion. In this episode, we will be going over camera setup and basic film preparation. One of the most important parts of film preparation is the camera. Smartphone cameras are good because they usually don't require you to buy anything new. If you have a smartphone, you have a camera that you can use for stop motion. These cameras are also helpful because they don't require a computer or other external source to string the photos together. There are plenty of free or cheap apps that let you do it automatically. Smartphone cameras also have a large depth of field, but can't focus up close. Here's a photo with an iPhone camera compared to a photo with a DSLR camera. As you can see, the DSLR camera can have a shallow depth of field, making your shots look more realistic. Lighting with phone cameras can also be difficult to regulate, so flicker can often be an issue. Webcams are also good because they generally have better quality pictures but can also get into smaller places for scenes inside buildings. You can get 4K webcams for fairly cheap compared to DSLR cameras. We have not used webcams but know plenty of other brick filmers do. DSLR cameras have the best quality but are also the most expensive. They can zoom, change focus, they have much sharper pictures, and have a lot more manual settings to create a desired look. All of our stop motion films are shot with our Canon EOS 7D Mark II. In this shot, we were able to change the focus using the DSLR camera, something that most regular smartphone cameras cannot. Here, you can see us zooming in and out using the DSLR camera. We can also focus on things towards the back of the scene or on objects in the front. Through the computer, we can change the aperture, which changes the depth of field. Smaller aperture values decrease the depth of field, but also create brighter images. We can change the shutter speed in order to compensate for the brightness. If we have a large aperture, the depth of the field increases, meaning that more things are in focus. However, we need to decrease the shutter speed again to brighten the image. Here, we can see that almost everything in our shot is in focus. Additionally, you can change the white balance on your camera through the computer, depending on how warm or cold you want your shot to look. In this scene, you can see us zooming out, adjusting the zoom for each frame. It's important to know which sets, models, and figures you need for your film. For the Battle of the Bulge animation, we used various sources online to create a timeline, which we then transformed into a rough script. From there, we researched which tanks and weapons were involved, and started picking which vehicles we wanted to include. Most of the tanks were built using instructions from Brickmania's Battle of the Bulge book. We also designed some of our own tanks, including the King Tiger and the Sherman Jumbo, both of which you can purchase instructions for in the description below. Here is a lineup of some of the models we used in our Battle of the Bulge film. All of these models were made using the instruction book and some of our own designs. There are two main grounds people use for LEGO stop motion, clay or LEGO plates. We also used kinetic sand for our Operation Torch film, which is not commonly used and difficult to animate with. It was hard to balance the figures and the sand made a mess. Clay is much easier to animate with as the minifigures stick more easily into the ground and you don't have to worry about balancing them during a walk cycle. It works especially well for 24 frames per second as you need multiple frames in which the minifigure is in between steps. Clay, however, tends to get stuck inside the minifigure legs and can be a pain to remove. Other set pieces also get pretty sticky if you push them into the clay. For our Battle of the Bulge film, we used white clay for the ground. We find that some cleaners are able to get most of the clay out, however there's always some residual left. For our figures, we bought sticker packs, guns, and helmets from Brickmania. Here's a lineup of most of the figures seen in our films. Stickers are a good, cheap way to create authentic World War II figures, however excessive use can result in fading and damaged figures. Of course, you can always pull the sticker off and apply a new one as needed. In this scene, you can see the clay we used for the ground, the soldiers with Brickmania stickers, Brickmania tanks, and our own self-designed tank. The background is made of printed sheets and Lego built trees. As always, thanks for watching and stay tuned for episode 2.